Hello, my friends. This is Rachel Archelaus, and I have a question from a student today that is really timely and great, and I want to read it to you and give her an answer, but give an answer to all of you too, in case you are dealing with this question. So I'm just going to read the whole thing. I'm not going to read her name just to keep her identity to herself. Hello, Rachel. I used to speak with you off and on just before your boot camp got started, and around that time you recommended reading Busting Loose from the Money Game. I've been having some real identity crisis issues where I've started to question absolutely every belief system I've had, and I'm basically rebuilding my beliefs again to drop out what is toxic and wasting my time and effort, and to only take on what is actually beneficial. For me, it helps to have evidence to support the belief system in question. I want to believe that this book is true and that we create our realities, and how it doesn't matter what others around us think because they will change as we change. But I need to hear experiences that support it. May I ask what your experiences have been with this information in the book? Do you still use the technique he gives to call energy back to you? At the time of reading it years ago, I was able to make all the connections, but I've been slacking in my meditation and in my spiritual practice, and now it seems harder to understand, and I'm figuring out which direction to go in. I feel like I shouldn't try to change anything, like all the outer stuff will change depending on my inner, but I don't know if that's actually delusional or not. I appreciate any help you can offer, and I hope all is well, that you're doing well in your new home. Okay. So we get this, right? Like, she's identified that belief systems are present in her life that are not helping her, and that there's potentially toxic stuff around her. And she wants to change. She wants to just go with like the inner world will create the outer world, but she doesn't know if that's really true. And it's also harder to wrap her head around right now. And that's because, well, there's a lot of stuff going on here in these questions, but I want to go straight to a point that I've been making lately, and that is our minds are taking a break. Our minds were never meant to help us understand these kinds of issues. Our minds are like calculators. Our minds are receptacles for past information. And it's not meant to really help us make big decisions. That's what our intuition is for. That's what your gut is for and your heart. And so because we've all been evolving, because the energy of Earth right now is what it is, it's new, our minds are shutting down in the areas where they're not supposed to be active. They're going back to the way that they're supposed to be. And everything else is activating. Your heart, your gut, all of that is activating, and you're embodying that intuition. So instead of getting intuition and then thinking about it, we're embodying it, not thinking as much, and acting. So it's a smaller system now of intuition and action and manifestation. It doesn't involve thought anymore. It doesn't have to involve thought. Doesn't have to involve struggle, doesn't have to involve frustration. And just in this simple act of trying to redo a belief system, that is way too mental. That's not how it works, really. You can't just disassemble yourself and reassemble with your mind like that. And I know who you are, so specifically to you, you are not as comfortable being embodied, and I think that's why you're having such an identity crisis right now, and that's why you use that term. So really the answer for you is to connect with nature, go outside, go barefoot, go walk in the stream, go get dirty, and ask yourself, what do I feel like doing? That feelingness is going to show you where to go. And you don't have to consciously worry about your belief systems. You don't have to consciously install new ones. You go where you feel like going, and you trust that that is going to bring all of the new supportive energies to you that you're looking for. Asking yourself how you feel is also going to disassemble any old patterns that you're hanging on to. So following your feelingness, following your body instincts, that's really is what's going to support you into going to the next level. And you're freaking out because the mind is shutting down, and that's what you're used to relying on, but that's not the tool that's going to help you get to where you want to go. In fact, it's only going to keep you frustrated and scared. So this is for everybody, because I know I have a lot of like perfectionists and planners and control freaks in this group. And to all of you, this is the same thing. This is happening to me. This is happening to everybody. So less thought, more doing, more feeling. And it's the feeling that brings up the belief systems in question. So just personal example, I do a lot of things that my old belief systems and the belief systems in the people around me do not like. They're not approved of. Like, for example, last week I went to Canada to be part of Soul Art Day with Laura Hollick, and it was very fun and amazing and an honor to be invited, and it was also work. You know, I had to drive there. I had to be present. I had to show up. I had to be part of 2 Google Hangouts. I had to be on a webcam all day. I had to produce something. I had to decode. I had to sit with the group. I had to talk. I had to be social. And I had to mail out 2 mailings that I have to follow up in a group. It's work, but it's also super fun. In the past, those things didn't go together. When I was married, if it looked like I was having too much fun working, I would make my partner feel bad, right? There were consequences to having a really fun job. And I was at a picnic this weekend and talking to my grandpa, and he's like, oh, well, so this was fun. It was a fun trip. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was fun, but it was a work trip. And so there will be people around you that don't necessarily see eye to eye with you. So it's not the case that just everyone poof automatically in your outer world is going to change. Most of them will change, or some of them will change with you. Some of them won't. And then you just will realize, well, there's a gap here between how I think and how you think, and we don't really need to talk about that stuff, or we don't need to see each other anymore, or it will naturally fall away. Right? So it might, if that interaction happened and I wasn't solid in the fact that it's okay to have a fun job, like if this happened 10 years ago and I wasn't there yet, it would have made me feel guilty. So guilt is when we are experiencing something that goes against a belief system. Like, a lot of people aren't ready to have an open relationship because they're not ready to experience pleasure with someone other than their partner, because it would make them feel guilty, or they'd be worried about how it would affect the other person. And so it's going with your feelings that will put you in a position to challenge the belief systems that are in place. It will illuminate them. And so it's all about feeling. You don't have to go in there and seek after something unless you already know that something is there that you need to get rid of. But focusing too much on that will just bring you more to clear. Don't focus on the clearing. Let the clearing just come up that needs to happen. Right? Live your life. Go with your feelings. Go with what feels good. And then all the stuff you need to clear will be illuminated, and then you can clear it and move through. So she asked if I still use the method in the book for getting my power back. Sometimes I do. But honestly, I don't feel big, negative, scary feelings that often. And so sometimes I will sit there and I'll go, okay, I'm feeling it, call my power back to me. And it does still work. I mean, it's a great technique, but it's not necessary. I loved that book so many years ago because it outlined in a very logical way how we work with our higher self energies. And I really liked that, and I found it was helpful for people, but it's not a holy grail. It's not like that's the Bible of how humans live and work. We're beyond that now. The energy on the earth right now is much more high dimensional. It's much more elevated. And so that book's not necessary. but it can still be helpful for sure. The most important thing right now is to connect with your heart, connect with your intuition, connect with your gut feelings, and live by that. And then you will see the change. You don't need my experiences. You don't need anybody else's, thoughts about that. You will see and you will feel the change in your life and the change in your world. And you can start really small. In the morning, you can ask yourself, what would make me feel good today? Or how can I best support myself today? Start there. That's what I do every single morning. And it makes me feel good in the moment. And then throughout the day, I know, oh, I need to eat now, or I really feel lonely. I need to call a friend so I can feel more connected. You start to plug back into your body. And if I don't have enough nature time, then I start to feel really weird. So I'll know, okay, I need to go outside tomorrow, and that's a priority. That is an absolute must. And I make it happen. So feeling. Less thinking, less strategy, less of that. Less of that. More feeling and being guided. And I swear you will see the difference in your outer world, but you've got to take the first step. And no one can get you there, right? At some point you still have to leap. So if you have follow-up questions to this, please ask. I love this conversation so much. Thank you for writing to me and asking me these questions. And anyone else in the group, chime in. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's going on for you. And if you have any comments to add to this, to add to the conversation. All right, guys, so much love to you. Lots and lots and lots of love. Bye for now.